How do you overcome objections in sales? So this video is going to be a little bit atypical of what you see here on YouTube. I'm going to start out talking about probably what's familiar to you and what I was originally taught. But then I'm going to teach you a much better way that you can do sales and overcome objections. My first exposure to sales and sales training was when I was in my 20s. I got a summer sales job and they trained me in the style of Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins really knows his stuff. He's a legend, many decades teaching people how to do sales, and he's got tons of ways to overcome objections. I memorized a script and I learned from Tom Hopkins, and I went out and guess what? It worked. It worked. It worked extremely well, and I don't use those techniques anymore today. I don't use them anymore today. But I want to demonstrate what one of them is, what one of these techniques is. I've got my book here. Let's pretend I'm selling you my book, all right? And I've told you all the virtues and how much this book is going to bless your life. And then let's say you gave me an objection and you said, you know what? Me and my spouse, we need to talk about it first. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. We just need to talk about it. So Tom Hopkins trained me to say, you know what, I fully support that. I really want you to talk about it. Here, go ahead, you hang on to that. I'm gonna go step outside, give you guys some breathing room so you can talk about it, and come and get me when you're done. So then I would walk away, I'd go out the front door, I'd sit down on the porch, and I'd wait. It was called the walkout close. I did it. That strategy actually worked. It's fun. Tom Hopkins taught me a lot of closing techniques or ways to overcome objections like that. So those strategies can work, but what I'm going to talk to you more about for the rest of this episode is more of a sales philosophy that I've come to love a lot more. Not just gimmicks or tactics of ways that you can close, that you can overcome objections, but it's a way that you can actually better serve your customers and your clients. As I was preparing my notes, I did think of one thing that I think Tom Hopkins and my current day philosophy would agree with. And one way that you can very effectively overcome objections is to bring it up first. If you know that there's a common objection out there that you've heard a lot and you're having a new conversation with somebody, you might bring it up, but already put it in context of why that doesn't matter or how other people have overcome it. You know, you could weigh it against, yeah, this is an objection that some people have had, but when they learned this, right? So you can bring up objections intentionally that are common, that you predict they will ask. Now, something else that Tom might agree with is that you can validate. When they bring up an objection, you might say, yeah, I agree with that. That really makes a lot of sense, and I can see why you would feel that way. So in the example I said of the spouse, the couple that wanted to discuss it, I validated that and I said, yeah, that makes sense. I agree that that would be a good thing for you to do. So now here's where we're going to part ways with Tom Hopkins, and we're going to have more of a consultation. Think of it like a diagnosis, or when you're visiting with a doctor, you've got some ailment or something. The doctor doesn't just sell you something and overcome objections about a certain prescription or procedure, but they hopefully, if they're a great doctor, they're going to talk with you and figure out what are you experiencing, what's going on, what do you want to change, and they're going to come up with a plan in kind of a diagnosis type way. Well, I'm going to break it down even further. So let's come back here to what I've written here. I don't expect this to make sense to you, but by the end, I'll add some things that will bring a lot of clarity. So there are 5 steps to this conversation. If you follow these 5 steps in order, this process will naturally overcome objections or put you in a place that allows you to easily overcome the objections. Like they will have an objection, but something else will far outweigh that objection. But again, you have to go through these 5 steps in order. So step number 1 is to discuss, where are they now? This is going to be a pretty in-depth conversation. We're going to be finding out, what is their current struggle? What are their current successes? Where are they? What is their revenue? What is their income? What obstacles are they facing? Okay, and talk about everything good and bad happening right now with their situation. Let's quickly move on to number 2. We want to talk about their goal. Okay, so we only talk about their goal once we know where they currently are. They say, yeah, this is where we are, this is where I am, and this is where I want to be. So a simple example might be revenue. I'm currently making $100,000, but with all my expenses, that's just not cutting it. I believe we can get to $1 million, right? So whatever that is, it could be, this is what I'm experiencing. I've got arachnophobia. I'm afraid of spiders. I want to get to a place where I can have a tarantula as a pet, right? So you really need to be clear and in great detail about where they want to be after you've discussed where they are. Okay, so when you've got these two things in place, number 3 is you're going to point out and have them understand that there is this big chasm in the way. There is this big obstacle that is keeping them from getting to their goal. Now, it's important for them to acknowledge this, and you can ask questions like, what is keeping you from obtaining your goal? How long have you been stuck in this place? Right, and just lots of different questions to really get them to acknowledge. And I'll write in here, 3 is the gap. So we want them to really acknowledge, yeah, there's a big gap or chasm or obstacle in the way of me accomplishing my goal. Now, this type of conversation is really natural. If you are a solutions provider and you really care about these people and wanting them to be able to accomplish their goals, you don't need to learn tactics like the walkout close to be able to overcome their objections. Anyway, let me get back into this. It's important for them to put this in their own words, and they might say things like, man, if I go another year and I stay where I am, I might as well just quit my business. You know, whatever they say, there needs to be a gap for you to be able to proceed, right? There needs to be, steps 1, 2, and 3 need to be in place. Otherwise, there's no need to continue. You had a good conversation, you provided value, but if there really is a gap, they're really having a struggle and they want to get to this goal, that leads me into step number 4. Step number 4 is their commitment or their desire. Like, how committed are they to making this happen? How bad do they want it, right? And you can ask them. I ask a scale of 1 to 10. I learned that from others, and it's the best question to ask for a couple reasons, so I'll kind of demonstrate. I'll just say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to accomplish this goal? How important is it for you to get to this place? No matter what answer they give me, it tells me a lot. They might say, yeah, it's pretty important to me. I'd say a 6. Well, I at that point, I would then say, well, why did you not say 10? So it sounds like it's important, but it's not the most important thing to you, right? If they say a 6, you could ask kind of clarifying questions. You could ask that question like, okay, so what you're saying is you really do want to get there. It would be a great goal to accomplish, but if a year from now you're still here, it's not the end of the world. Is that what you're saying, right? Or what if they say, you know, I want it pretty bad. I would say I'm at a 9. Okay, so that tells you information. That tells you they are much more committed to it. It is really important to them, but there's some reason they didn't say 10. And so you can ask them, all right, wow, so this really is important to you. I want to ask though, why did you not say 10? Like, what's holding you back from having a commitment level of 10 of making this happen? And they'll tell you. They might bring up an objection or a doubt or a fear or concern or something like that. You want to keep talking with them until they're at a level 10. I mean, there's no point in moving on until their commitment is at 100%. But think about this. If they are at a level 10, then that means that no matter what objection they have, their desire is stronger. So we're going to talk about what 5 is, okay, in just a minute. But if you can help them accomplish their goal, and they want this goal to an extreme degree, they are at a level 10, they want it. If you give them a price, and that price is, whoa, that price is pretty expensive, but it's like, man, if you can help me accomplish that, I'm going to find a way to make that happen. If it's like, oh, but I have to travel to Hawaii to be able to do this, or I have to do this, it's like, whatever objection it might be, it's like, you know what, I need to get the approval of my business partner. Whatever that objection might be, if their commitment is a 10, it's like, well, this has got to happen. So, man, I'm afraid of that conversation, but I'm going to make sure that happens, right? So commitment is huge. You got to spend the appropriate time on each one before you move to 5, because 5 is the solution. I drew it up here because it's like this bridge. I'm talking to you assuming, and I'm feeling emotion about this because I'm so purpose-driven. I assume and I trust you that you really have a legitimate solution, that you are an expert at what you do, And if you can look at their scenario and you are full of confidence that I can help you get from here to here. I know how to do it. I've got a track record of success. I've done it many times. I know how to do it. Here is the solution. So if you follow these 5 steps, it overcomes so many objections, or it gives you the ability to know clearly where they're at. On the other hand, there's going to be a lot of people that they don't have clarity on their goals, or they're just not that committed. It's not that urgent for them. Like where they are now, it's okay. But those conversations are going to be very telling. You're going to be able to give them some valuable advice, and no matter what that conversation goes like, if you have a solution to provide, that's what step 5 is. But if you don't have a solution to provide, maybe you have a referral for them. That's what step 5 could be. It could be a referral. It's like, you know what? I have a referral for you. That's a common outcome for me, where I'll have a conversation. I'll go through several of these steps and I'll find out, you know what, my service is not the best fit for them. I had a conversation the other day, and for what they were trying to do, there's a YouTube expert named Daryl Eves. He helped Mr. Beast go to 140 million subscribers on his channel. I actually referred him to Daryl Eves, and I said, for what you're wanting to do, for the type of channel you're wanting to create, get Daryl's book and go to Vid Summit. If that's the type of channel you want to build, you probably wouldn't have watched this episode that far. But if that's you, I'll be at Vid Summit. I'm very serious about this, that a solution, you're making a commitment. You're making a promise that you can help them, and you're going to do your part and be very clear on what your limitations are and what your strengths are. And when you present this solution, you can have confidence and instill in them confidence that you can help them accomplish their goals. And that's the best way of overcoming their objections. Okay, the last suggestion that I wanted to give that certainly ties in with that conversation over there, but questions are a powerful tool. A lot of times your prospects will give you an objection and you can follow that up with a question. They might say anything, and I could respond like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What do you think you could do about that? You know, whatever it is, you can just respond with a question, because while they do have an objection, they also have a powerful mind to figure out a solution. And that comes back to their commitment. Like, how much do they want to overcome it, or how much do they want to achieve their goal? If their commitment is high, that question will work. They will come up with their own solution. I can think of an example. Many years ago, I had a program that was about $3,000 in cost. I was talking to a gentleman who the scenario fit perfectly. His commitment level was high. I had a very clear vision on what I could do. The program I had was $3,000, and he did not have the money. He did not have any money in his account. He was living paycheck to paycheck. And I asked him the question, like, you know, this looks like it's really important. I have a solution that can help you get there. And I didn't use those words exactly, but I did ask him the question, like, what do you think we can do to come up with $3,000? He actually went and took, it was either a second or maybe a third job at a convenience store. And he found something in his garage that he could sell. I didn't come up with those things. He wanted it, and he did it. He sold something in his garage. He got another job at a convenience store for a period of, I don't know, 6 months or something. I think he kept that second or third job. We worked together, and I helped him accomplish that goal. I do have a gift for you. I referenced my book. It's a Hero's Guide to Influence on YouTube. I put 2 years of work into creating this book, and I printed it in full color. I tell you that because I want to give this book to you for free, but you have to cover the costs. And the cost to print color, paperback, is actually $11.15 just to print this. I don't want any profit off of this. You cover the printing cost and you cover the shipping wherever you're at in the world. And this is my gift to you. The reason I want to give this to you is because this is a system where you can generate organic leads on YouTube of these people that are searching for you, that want your help. You get 100 views on YouTube and you can generate $10,000. I've done it many times, and I've got a lot of case studies of all different types of businesses showing you how you can do that so you can apply it to youtubebook.com. So go to natesyoutubebook.com, and that's my gift to you.